What's going on, guys? Wasn't expecting to stream today, but got a little bored and wanted to talk about some stuff. And I threw a poll out there because I was going to go live yesterday, but I put the poll out there, and the poll says that you guys want to see different types of bunkers and stuff like that. So I was going to get into it. I'm going to wait before I start playing videos. I'm going to wait till more people get in. But if anyone has any questions, um, I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you and see if you guys have um, any ideas for the cheap way to go. Because I don't got a lot of money. Actually, I'm kind of broke. I'm broke as they fucking come. So, I talk about these bunkers and I talk about getting my bunker built and breaking ground and all that. I need y'all to understand is that I don't have a lot of money. So once I start building this bunker, it's more than likely going to be handmade. And more than likely, my bunker is going to be an earth cradle bunker. It's going to be, it's going to be made with the materials that are around my property, and that is most common in this area. So don't be surprised if you see me putting sandbags and earth bags together and then reinforce it with either lumber or some steel rebar. But yeah, I'm going to go about it the cheapest way possible. But here's the thing. Here's the surprising thing, that the earth cradle bunkers that were made in the 50s and the 60s, when we were in the height of the Cold War and in fear of nuclear altercations, to this day, the bunkers that were made back then, the ones that have survived till now, are the earth cradle bunkers. A lot of the government made bunkers they are they have either collapsed, or these are steel reinforced concrete bunkers, mind you. They have water has gotten into it, a lot of water damage. But the earth cradle bunkers, hey, what's up, Daniel? How you doing? Good to see you, buddy. But the earth cradle bunkers, the cheap bunkers, you might say, um, that were made by the people that couldn't afford the steel reinforced concrete type of bunkers, the $1 million bunker, they couldn't afford that. They did what they can, and they're basically called root cellars now. If you have a root cellar in your house, you have a bunker. That is legitimately a bunker. What you do with it and how you prepare it now, or like, let's say you have a root cellar, you could do things to yourself right now. Your root cellar is 98% or 93% um, good against protecting you against nuclear fallout. That's no lie. So a lot of these old root cellars, these old bunkers that were made, people are using now for root cellars. They're using it to store wine in. They're tornado shelters or hurricane shelters. These are bunkers, and these are legitimately good, nice built, old school bunkers that didn't cost a lot of money to make. But we're gonna take a look at a few different types of bunkers that are out there. One of my favorite bunkers that are out there is the Atlas bunker, and I'll give you a. Let me see, what do I got up here? I don't like the fact that this video has Getty images on it, and I don't know if I'm gonna get because it has iStock Getty images on it in the video itself. I could get tagged in it and possibly taken down. I don't want to go through that. I'm looking for a video that doesn't have iStock or Getty images on it, but I'll find it for sure. But let's look at an Atlas bunker. All right. Let me get it. Let me get one of their shorts. look at some of the, it was 1,000 square feet, movie theater, bunker. We'll play this one. All right. Now, this is one of the high-end bunkers that are out there. All right, these are one of the high-end bunkers. Let me share screens. First of all, can you guys hear me okay? If y'all are in here, can you hear me okay? Daniel, is my sound coming in all right? Oh shit, hold on, something fell. Give me a second. Not cool. Nice jumble of wires out here just hanging everywhere. All right. Hey Marcus, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Haven't talked to you in a minute. But yeah, let me these are some of my favorite bunkers. The Atlas Survival Shelters. I love this guy. This guy, he makes really good bunkers, and he's basically cornered the market. Let's look at this. This is a short. Let's look at this short.
This is probably one of the coolest things you ever see. There is a builder here in Texas that is building houses with bunkers already in them. This one already has its batteries and solar panels, but down these stairs is one of the coolest bunkers you'll ever see. It's 1,000 square foot movie theater, single bedroom, bathroom, kitchen. Of course, it's got my blast door there, a blast door there, decontamination shower. But when you walk in the bunker, look at this. It's a movie theater with 9-foot ceilings. It's got its own secret gun shelf in there. It's got the escape door, the movie theater. Check all this out. Beautiful kitchen, beautiful bathroom, beautiful bedroom. It's got my Swiss air system back here.
This is
cool is this? So
yeah, just let's go back a second. I want to talk to you about when I do build my bunker. I'm gonna have this air system in it. You know, no matter what design of bunker I'm gonna get, I'm gonna buy that air filter system right there. Yeah, that's gonna be a hefty price because it's a few $1,000s for this air filtration system, but it's the best out there on the market, and it's gonna save your ass no matter what. So no matter what type of bunker I'm gonna do, whether it be handmade or concrete reinforced, or if it's going to be something like this filtration system, I'm definitely getting.
How cool is this? So guys, if you're interested in buying a house with a bunker, there is a developer doing this in Texas. Contact me and I'll tell you all about ARC Industries. This is.
So that's Atlas Survival Shelters, and I guess he was talking about a builder, a house builder that builds the houses with the bunker already in it. More than likely, because that still looks like one of his bunkers. Let's go back. Let me stop sharing this. Let's go back and see what type of shelters this guy does, because this guy, he has a right here. Go to videos. I'm just going to show you his page just so y'all can see the price of these bunkers is ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like they're well worth the money. If I had the money, I would definitely get these. But look at this. This bunker right here this has a 15 by 70 and then two 15, and then right there, 2 15 by 40s bunkers attached to each other, shelters attached to each other. But if we see, let's see if this will play. Yeah.
This is a $500,000 Atlas bomb shelter, and here's how we install it.
$500,000.
So this customer needed a 12 by 50th bunker. When he came to Atlas, he talked with Ron. He realized that a 12 by 50 would never make it up the terrain to get here to this final spot.
Do you think we ought to favor this to that side because that one tree's leaning? No, man.
I thought I was dead in the water, and that's when he suggested cutting it in half. Ron put it in 2 modules, and then we weld that in place and make it airtight and watertight.
Into the process.
Pull them up, whole cable.
One thing about these containers is that a welded is still shut and welded. All right, these containers are airtight. No water is getting into it. None whatsoever except from the water supply that we have.
Yeah, it's maxed out on this too.
It's and they put it together in modules. Again, I actually seriously considered getting one of these bunkers. Now
This back end has to go over.
just for the I think it's 14. I think it's 14 by 70 foot bunker. They have 2 types that are like that. They have the tube one. It's like a circular. It's like a drain pipe, but the thing is huge. You can live in it, and they have one that's like 12 by 70 or 14 by 70, and it comes with 2 bedrooms in it. It comes with a decontamination room. It has it has 1 bathroom. 1 bathroom? Let me think about it. Yeah, it has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It has the living room. Now all this comes furnished. They give you a TV, a microwave. They don't install a stove. You can customize it and have an electric stove put in and everything like that. But just for the bunker, just for the module itself, is $80,000. That's not including the installation. That's not including digging up at the site. That's not including laying down the concrete. Because this thing has to be put on a concrete slab, and then it's buried with rock and reinforced with concrete all around, surrounded. And then you got 2 feet of concrete on top, and then about 6 to 8 feet of dirt on top of that. Right. So imagine the 80,000 is just for that module. And you still got to pay for all that other stuff. No way. I couldn't even buy that module. My house cost me $27,000. The land that I put my house on cost $37,000. And then it would to have everything brought here and get ready. Maybe a grand total of about $83,000 to be able to move on to the property I got right now. So I couldn't even think about getting a bunker. Not one of Atlas bunkers, although I think they're the best bunkers out there. I would love to have one, but yeah, I couldn't afford that. I would have to go with a earth cradle bunker, which again, you're using the materials around you. You'll be filling a lot of bags with local earth, and then you reinforce it with lumber, and that's basically what you have to have a 2-way vent system, which is why I wanted to get that vent system that he has, that Swiss vent system, because then I don't have to worry so much. But yeah, there's a lot of thought that goes into it, but I have to go the cheapest route possible. The absolute, because that's all I can afford. You know, you can work with, you got to work with what you got. And I'm not the type to spend money stupidly, not like that. And I can't, I'm not going to, my credit's bad enough already. I'm not going to, throw my credit up against a mountain like that. So this is what I got to do is stuff that I can do myself or my friends can help me do. But there are many options as far as bunkers go. And for me, I think that the cheapest option is a earth cradle bunker. But let's I'm going to try this one video so you guys can understand how the earth cradle bunker works or why it's so good. Give me a second here. Let me stop sharing this one. Let me share this one.
The Cold War shelter, hack, modern builders. Forgot and why it still beats any high-tech bunker today. If you've spent enough hours crawling through Cold War engineering archives, those dusty corners of history where paranoia met brilliance, you eventually hit a moment that snaps you awake. You start realizing our modern concrete jungles, with all their gadgets and shiny systems, are embarrassingly fragile. Meanwhile, sitting quietly under hillsides from Canada to Northern Europe, there are Cold War shelters, still bone-dry, perfectly temperate and structurally solid after 60 brutal winters. And the wild part? Their secret isn't thicker concrete, exotic alloys, or anything remotely futuristic. The trick is far simpler, almost annoyingly clever, and it might be the smartest survival hack ever engineered. Let's dig into it, because this is the kind of history that whispers instead of shouts, and survivalists today are finally circling back to it. The real backbone of long-life underground shelters wasn't brute force construction. It wasn't Cold War funding. It wasn't even the arms race. It was the philosophy of working with the earth instead of fighting it. That single shift, choosing to partner with soil, moisture and pressure rather than trying to seal them out, allowed certain Cold War bunkers to outlast modern sealed capsule bunkers by decades. Engineers in the 1950s had lived through World War II rebuilding efforts and understood something modern designers often forget. The enemy isn't just blast shock or radiation. It's time. Time destroys.
Oh, look, let me explain something to you as far as the bunker. Can you stay in my bunker? Once the bunker is built here, the people that I have that I know for a fact are staying here are my neighbors Kim and her daughter Cheyenne, and then my other neighbors. And then my immediate family. I plan on having 10 people in my bunker. I plan on being able to have 10 people stay in my bunker and be able to stay there for a few weeks comfortably until shit settles down and we can get out. If we stock enough food, we could actually stay underground in that bunker for about 6 months. If you stock enough food and enough water and you ration it out properly. That being said, so 10 people is all I'd be able to fit in the bunker. But I want you guys to understand what he's saying here is that the bunkers that work the best are the ones where you work with your environment instead of working against it. All these high-tech bunkers, all these concrete bunkers, these steel reinforced bunkers, yeah, they're good and nice to have, but the ones that work the best are the ones that you work with nature. I'll give you a good example. When the USA, hey Shanta, how you doing, baby? When we were at war in World War II and we were fighting against the Japanese were on the island of Iwo Jima, okay? And that island we bombed the hell out of that island. I mean, we tried to flatten out the island. And when the Marines went out there, they were sorely surprised at how entrenched the Japanese were. They had a 16-mile network in the mountain. I can't remember the name of the mountain I can't remember the name of the mountain, but they had a 16-mile. Actually, I think it was more than 16 mile. They had these tunnels and all these pillboxes dug into the mountain. All right, they were able to house. They built a hospital in this mountain that can hold 400 people that were shot or something like that. They were able to hold 21,000 people. 21,000 people in these tunnels. So think about that. And these tunnels were made, they dug out the tunnels, they reinforced them with earth bags and lumber, and this is what I'm talking about. And these tunnels that they made, if a nuclear bomb hit the island, whoever was in the tunnel would have survived. So you can go the cheapest route, and the Japanese went the cheapest route. They didn't have to go through, tearing apart the mountain and rebuilding it. They did it like the way this guy's going to talk about. Let me continue.
Concrete. Time corrodes steel. Time moves soil and forces water into every crack you fail to respect. Cold War engineers confronted that reality with the kind of quiet genius serious historians love studying. They built shelters that didn't struggle against nature. They cooperated with it. The first thing they mastered was pressure, not the psychological kind, the physical kind that decides whether a bunker stays dry or turns into a cold, damp tomb. Moisture always moves from warm to cold, from high pressure to low pressure, and from restricted areas into open paths. Instead of sealing bunkers into airtight vaults the way many modern do-it-yourself designs do, Cold War engineers built pressure relief zones into the soil around their structures. These weren't flashy. Most visitors don't even notice them. But they're the reason some bunkers remain immaculate today. Across parts of the Northern Hemisphere, shelters were wrapped in what you could call intelligent earth layers. Picture, if you will, a shell where the outermost zone was soil. The next was coarse gravel, and inside that sat the concrete shell. This gravel wasn't just filler. It was a pressure and moisture buffer. It allowed water to flow freely outward instead of pressing inward. It slowed freeze-thaw cycles so the concrete didn't suffer sudden temperature shocks. It equalized pressure between the bunker interior and the soil outside. In practical terms,
right now he's talking about the concrete bunkers, but he's going to eventually get into the earth cradle bunkers, and you'll see how well they work. They work better than these concrete bunkers because a lot of the earth cradle bunkers that were made in the 50s and the 60s are still relevant and up and running to this day, where a lot of the concrete bunkers are either collapsed or they're flooded, and you're going to see why.
It meant no sweating walls, no creeping mold, no decades-long war between concrete and the elements. Take the Scandinavian double berm system, for example. 2 layers of earth separated by a thick gravel bed created a thermal blanket that breathed. Decades later, these shelters remain shockingly dry, while newer ones, built without those passive layers, crack, sweat, and slowly crumble. And here's the good news. You can use this same trick today, even on something as small as a root cellar or storm shelter. Anyone digging into a hillside or pouring a foundation can widen the trench by a foot or two and fill that buffer with angular gravel. You're giving moisture a place to go. You're relieving hydrostatic pressure. You're letting nature help you instead of choke you. That's how you build something that lasts generations, not just seasons. The second major insight was thermal intelligence. Cold War engineers understood that the Earth is an incredible insulator, but only if you allow it to breathe. When you trap moisture inside that thermal mass, you create a slow-motion disaster. But when you design for gentle airflow, you create stability. This is why so many Cold War shelters use ventilated earth coverings. Not just soil dumped on a roof, but layers, stone, sand, porous material carved into a kind of massive insulating lung. Heat and moisture could migrate slowly, predictably. The result was a bunker that stayed cool in summer and warm in winter without stressing the walls or relying on mechanical systems that would eventually.
That's one thing I love about these bunkers and the bunker system that I'm thinking about building, is that when you get so deep underground, once you get below 7 feet deep underground, the temperature underground stays stable. It stays stable at about between 57 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, no matter what. That's in the summer and that's in the winter. And at that temperature, you don't need air conditioning or heating. What you do need is good ventilation, which is why I want to get that Swiss air filtration system. But yeah, once you get below 7 feet, the temperature is stable, and it won't increase. You don't need heaters down there or air conditioners, and that's the great thing about it. So if you get stuck down there, as long as you got good ventilation and a good filtration system, you can live there indefinitely as long as you have enough supplies. Let's continue.
Eventually fail. Modern builders can copy this easily. If you're covering a workshop, cellar, or storage room with earth, lay a permeable drainage mat or gravel layer before piling the soil on top. A simple 3-layer system, wall, gravel drainage layer, compacted soil, duplicates the old Cold War pattern using modern materials. You don't need to pour a fortune into it. You just have to respect physical laws. And then there's ventilation, the part most people overlook until it's too late. Many modern prepper bunkers go for the sealed vault fantasy. It feels safe until humidity starts climbing, steel frames rust, and wooden supports start smelling like a forgotten basement. Cold War engineers already solved that problem with passive airflow.
When he talks about the passive airflow, he's talking about upper and lower air, because hot air rises, cold air is lower. And for you to get good circulation in these bunkers, you have to have dual ventilation. You have to have 2 vents that will be able to circulate all the air. Again, I'm going to go for that Swiss ventilation system, but you could do it passively, like he's going to talk about, and cheaply, to be completely honest, but with these old techniques.
One low intake near the floor, one higher exit shaft. The natural temperature difference between those 2 points triggers a slow, constant convection loop. No electricity, no fans, no moving parts. And yet the air inside stays dry, oxygenated, and consistent year-round. If you're building a cellar or emergency hideaway, this is the system to copy. You can run PVC pipes through the berm, shield them from pests with simple grates, and, well, just let physics handle the rest. It's elegant because it's honest. It acknowledges that humans will not maintain a shelter perfectly for 50 years, but nature will maintain it if you design it right. Here's the real lesson, the one Cold War engineers left us like a quiet survivalist inheritance. Durability isn't about strength, it's about harmony. When a structure works with soil, temperature, airflow and time, it becomes practically immortal. When it fights those forces, it loses. If today's survivalists, homesteaders and history buffs want a bunker, or even just a long-lasting earth-covered structure that stands the test of decades, this is the pattern to follow. Not the movie version of a bunker, the real one. The one that outlived an age obsessed with Armageddon. If you want more deep historical engineering secrets, broken down into practical, usable knowledge for modern life, make sure you subscribe, share this episode, and help grow a community built to last, just like the shelters we study.